Everybody, welcome to a tropical update here to the wide read Atlantic. Right now, a fairly active Atlantic we're talking about here, at least for November terms. We got Tropical Storm ETA nearing landfall over Florida here as a weakening tropical storm. Then we got potentially our next big story here, Invest 98L developing in the Caribbean here. It may become our next name system. The next name up on the Greek alphabet would be IOTA. Then we also got Tropical Storm Theta ongoing in the open Atlantic. First, let's take a close look at Invest 98L ongoing. Information chance for the next 48 hours is a medium 50% chance, as you can see there. Information chance for the next 5 days is a high 90% chance of formation, as you can see there, into forming at least a tropical depressed strength system or higher here at this point in time. And here's infrared imagery of the system right now, and you can see this how the system's consolidating over the past 3 hours here. And I just really want to note here, some of the models are really coming into better agreement here. This could potentially become our next hurricane here, as conditions are forecast to be pretty much near perfect here as the system progresses westward into the central and the western Caribbean here with time. And of course, the next name up would be IOTA, so it'll be named IOTA if we do get a name out of this, which seems more likely than not at this point. So just please keep a close eye on the system here, especially for those of you guys in the Western Caribbean here, Central America, Yucatan here, maybe even Jamaica here. Keep a close eye on the system here as it develops. Could become our next major news story here in terms of the water tropics here for the Atlantic Basin. Once this develops into perhaps our next name system, which seems more likely than not, again, like I said at this point. And here's a look at the forecast cone for Tropical Storm ETA here, currently going on in the Gulf of Mexico. As of its latest 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time advisory 47, ETA is currently located at 28.3 degrees north, 83.4 degrees west. Maximum sustained moment winds at 65 miles per hour. Moving due north at 12 miles per hour. Tropical Storm 1 is in effect for parts of western Florida there, and then tiny little part of western Florida. Tropical Storm Watch is in effect in parts of eastern Florida, northeastern Florida, under a tropical storm watch, in the extreme southeast coastal part of Georgia under a tropical storm watch as well. And then here's a look at the key messages graphic from the National Hurricane Center here on ETA. And you could stop the video right now and take a look at that if you want to. And then here's the Spanish version as well, if you want to stop the video right now and read that for your own. And like you saw earlier, here is the peak surge graphic from the National Hurricane Center. And here's what the storm looks like on radar here. Not, of course, the most well-defined tropical storm we could see, but a tropical storm regardless here. It did become a hurricane for a really brief period here this morning, but then, of course, rapidly weakened as the sun came up. Fortunately here, as it was kind of pretty much forecast to. Again, this is forecast to be landfall as a weakening tropical storm like it is currently doing right now in terms of its weakening phase. And parts of western Florida, parts of the Tampa Bay area of Florida getting some pretty heavy rainfall and gusty winds in excess of about 60 miles per hour, which is, I believe, has been reported so far from the system here. So just please keep a close eye on the system here. Not, of course, we're not talking about a major hurricane here landfall or near major hurricane landfall like Zeta here, but just regardless, stay safe, stay indoors here. The system is moving at a pretty decent rate of speed at around 14 miles per hour, so it's not going to be sticking around here. So just stay inside tonight, and you'll make it through it, and you could go out tomorrow and assess any damage, if any, that you sustained from this system. Here's water vapor imagery as well, and it really paints the picture here as to why the system never really blew up here, at least near landfall. And you can see why all that dry, stable air to its west getting it drained into the system. And it's also heading into cooler season for temperatures because, of course, we're not in August or September anymore. We're in mid-November right now, which ETA seems to be not getting that hint yet that we're in November and not in August or September. But still, again, we're looking at a tropical cyclone making landfall over Florida here, near landfall, as I actually say there now. So really fortunate this is happening at this time and not in August or September, because this could probably would have been a completely different scenario than we're talking about right now. And then here's a look at Tropical Storm Theta, ongoing in the open Atlantic right now, currently located at 31.1 degrees north, 31.4 degrees west, maximum sustained moment winds at 65 miles per hour, moving east-northeast at 12 miles per hour. And it's forecast to continue gradually weakening here and eventually turn into a tropical depression as it takes a sharp northward turn there in the last two forecast points, as you can see there. And this system poses absolutely no threat to the United States here. Really only poses a threat for maybe the southern Azores here, in terms of maybe some increased rip currents, maybe some gusty winds, or maybe scattered rainfall from the outer bands from this system, and maybe extreme westerly appears perhaps a extratropical system here. Well, actually, most likely an extratropical system here later on down the line. Here's what the storm looks like in infrared satellite imagery right now. The storm did peak as a 70-mile-per-hour tropical storm earlier. So it was really interesting to see that. And of course, the National Hurricane Center will look back on this and see maybe if this did reach Category 1 intensity for a really brief period of time, or in fact stayed as a 70-mile-per-hour tropical system here for its peak here. So it'd be interesting to see what they find in their tropical cyclone report that they release, usually the year following this one, especially for busy seasons like this. Here's wide vapor imagery as well, and it gives you a wider view of things. You can see some of the outer cirrus clouds making it into parts of the country here, parts of the Azores here. I mean, as you can see there, and again, poses really probably only an indirect impacts here. Well, not indirect impacts, but really kind of minor impacts here. Probably some coastal flooding here, maybe some scattered rainfall here from the outer bands here. Definitely probably not as bad as it could have been, say, with storms like Ophelia and past storms of that such right now. Here's a look at the Western Pacific right now. We're looking at Typhoon 25W, which is still ongoing in Western Pacific right now. That made landfall over the Philippines this morning as a Category 2 typhoon. Now it's back over water, this time over the South China Sea, and forecast to slightly re-intensify further before making a landfall over Vietnam as maybe a weak typhoon, or maybe a strong tropical storm here in the next few days. We also got Invest 92S ongoing in South China Sea, which could become our next named system, and potentially could become actually our next cyclone here for the South Indian Ocean. I think actually our first one, I should say here, for the South Indian of this season, if the models are to be believed with this system. Fortunately, that system is forecast to stay out to sea, but here's a look at Typhoon 25W, also known as Vamco. Currently has 80 knot winds, which is about 85 miles per hour, if I'm not mistaken. Which, of course, is Category 1 equivalent tropical cyclone intensity. And it is forecast to, of course, slightly strengthen here in the South China Sea back up to its current intensity here of 80 knots, which is, again, about 85 miles per hour. And then eventually start to gradually weaken here and eventually make landfall over Vietnam as either a strong tropical storm or perhaps a weak typhoon, depending on where it makes landfall further south or further north on its forecast cone. And here's what the storm looks like in infrared satellite imagery here. And you can see it's, of course, a shell of its former self here. Doesn't really have a well-defined eye. Here like I did yesterday in the last update. We're still a really serious system and a fairly large system here compared to Super Typhoon Goni here. So there's something to watch here over the next few days here for those of you guys in Vietnam now. Please keep an eye on it here. Here's water vapor imagery here, and it gives you a wider perspective of things here. It gets the outer rainfall occurring in Luzon here from the outer bands of this tropical system here. This typhoon, actually, I should say. And again, really was a serious storm earlier today, and unfortunately some parts of the eyewall made it over northern Catanduanes Island of the Philippines here, which, if you are familiar, went through the eyewall of a catastrophic Category 5 170 knot, 195 mile per hour, 215 kilometer an hour wind sustained catastrophic Category 5 super typhoon by the name of Goni, not even 2 weeks ago here. So I'm sure it's probably putting a hamper, a damper on any recovery efforts, I should say, going on in that part of the world. So really unfortunate news to see another tropical cyclone impacting that part of the Philippines. They definitely don't need one here, especially after going through that mess of a super typhoon, let's just say, about 2 weeks ago by the name of Goni. And that's pretty much going to be about it for this tropical update here. Basic summary. in the Western Pacific, this isn't of course the Western Pacific. You're looking at the Atlantic right now, but for the Western Pacific, just keep a close eye on Typhoon Vamco, as it's forecast to slightly intensify in the South China Sea and eventually make landfall over Vietnam as perhaps a high-end tropical storm, or maybe a weak tropical, not tropical, weak Category 1 equivalent storm here, depending on where it makes landfall over Vietnam. Invest 92S forecast to pretty much be a fish storm, threatening really nobody except any marine interests that happen to be in the immediate area of this system. And then for the Atlantic, which is what you're looking at right now, got Tropical Storm Theta absolutely no threat to the United States as it continues out to sea here. And we also got Invest 98L, which could become our next big story here in the Atlantic Basin. So please keep a close eye on it, especially for those of you guys in the Western Caribbean here, Yucatan, Central America here, maybe as far north as maybe Jamaica here. As the system develops with time, then of course we've got Tropical Storm ETA nearing landfall over Florida here as a weakening tropical storm, as you can see there. So a pretty active Atlantic we're looking at right now, and that's pretty much going to be about it for this tropical update here. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability here. And if you want to know what links that I use for this tropical update, are also down in the description below. You can check them out and click them yourself and see if you are curious on what's currently going on in the world of the tropics right now, or get information yourself here on what's currently going on in the world of the tropics right now. So again, that's going to be about it for this tropical update here. Probably a little bit on the long side here, and I apologize for some of those errors that I made, because there's some of those grammatical errors here I made. It's a little late here, and I've been awake for a while here, so cut me some slack here. But yeah, that's going to be about it for this tropical update here. Hope everybody has a great day and night wherever you guys are. Stay safe, of course. Until then, see you guys in the next video. Peace.